everybody. I know I haven't been around for a little while. I just sort of wanted to get this map sorted out. And this is what I was coming up with. And the way I'm getting this is through old maps. It's where I started. I've sent maps to lots of people. I've sent maps to Martin. Lots of people. And yeah, that's how they have it with the north and south. But the way it really is you've got the North Pole's in behind. It's in the middle there where Greenland is. And the sun goes up and right over. There's a lot more water above there. And I was getting really close to finishing. Oh, and another way I was getting confirmation of how close I was getting. The lengths aren't right. I know that. I know that's long. They're longer, and distances between water are different. But as far as positioning, that's pretty spot on, people. That's about what you're looking at. I haven't completed it, obviously, because I realised I've seen what I'm doing. I've seen this before. What I'm doing right now, I've seen it before, because the old maps and everything, I know that because of the coast there. And that's what made me realise I've seen a video. Where there's a guy talking about this exact thing. And he's talking about old map drawers that knew about Antarctica, the landmass. See, I believe, the way I believe it is, right? The edges are turned up. Okay. I know everyone hates concavers. I'm sorry, people, but that Pickard guy that went up in the balloon, even he said the edges are turned up. I believe, I'm not going to say this is how it is, I believe that it rises towards the edge, and it's a long, long way. Only a K1.5 to 2 kilometres. Not much, but it does. Yeah, I know it sounds far-fetched. I know people are probably going to go, what? This guy's nuts. I know that, but I've been looking into this. You can see also, you can confirm all this by just looking at flight maps. You know that guy that's doing, what's his name? I don't know, but him and Jaron had a bit of a falling out. He's got the app with the flight app, the maps and all that. He's trying to put it all together. He's close, but he won't just follow the planes. For some reason, he's listening to what they're putting up, and I know for a fact that what they're telling us those planes are doing and the way they're going, the directions they're going aren't right. I'll put some footage up so you guys can see that it's not right. But anyway, first, I'll show you where I realised that I've seen this before. And this guy's a globe head, but yeah, this is not a new idea. This is old. Okay.
And navigators and seafarers need maps if they're going to sail around the Earth. Now this map is a modern map, and I picked it up at the Library of Congress in the United States. It's an azimuthal equidistant projection centered near Cairo. And in common with all modern maps, it incorporates a number of advanced features. It incorporates highly accurate longitudes, and particularly relative longitudes, and it incorporates an advanced map projection. It isn't easy to represent a spherical object, the Earth, on a flat piece of paper, and to do so with a considerable degree of accuracy. And this is a problem that cartography has had to overcome. So we find good map projections which require advanced mathematics and good relative longitudes. Interestingly enough, there's a category of ancient map which also shows these modern features and which doesn't fit with the received view of the development of human history. One of the most famous of these maps is the Piri-Reis map, and I'm showing it here because I want to compare the projection of this map with the projection here centered on Cairo. Notice the west coast of Africa and the east coast of South America, and coming down here to the Antarctic Peninsula, tonguing up towards the south of South America. It's that precise projection that we find on this 1513 map. Again, there's the west coast of Africa, the east coast of South America. And coming down here, we find a representation of the northern Antarctic Peninsula. In 1513, when Piri-Reis drew the map, Antarctica had not been discovered. In fact, it wasn't discovered until 1880 by our civilization. So there immediately is one anomaly on this map. And another anomaly is the mathematics used in the map projection. And a third anomaly is that it incorporates highly accurate relative longitudes. To do longitudes accurately on maps requires a chronometer, a marine chronometer that will keep accurate time at sea. And again, this was something that our civilization couldn't do until the late 18th century. So this map, fragmentary though it is, appears to incorporate many features that are not supposed to have been known about in 1513. Piri-Reis explains why in these texts that he wrote on the map. He was a Turkish admiral and he wrote these texts on the map. But what they say is that the map is not his own work. It's a work of synthesis. It's based on more than 20 earlier source maps, that he put all these maps together and derived his own map from these. And unfortunately, the source maps that Piri-Reis used have not survived. Is it possible that the advanced features of this map originate in those lost source maps, which Piri-Reis told us went back in some cases to before the time of Christ and had come from the long-lost library of Alexandria in Egypt? Another strange thing about the appearance of Antarctica on this map, it's been studied by US Air Force cartographers, and their view is that what we're actually seeing there is the subglacial topography of Antarctica. Antarctica as it looks underneath the ice that now covers it. And this raises the question, how long has Antarctica been covered with the 2-mile thick ice cap that we now presently see on it? Such questions would be irrelevant if there were no other maps in this category. If the Piri-Reis map stood alone, the most sensible thing to do would be to dismiss it as a coincidence. But it doesn't stand alone. There's hundreds of other maps that incorporate this same information at a time when our civilization had not yet acquired that information. This is the Mercator map. Mercator is rather famous for his Mercator projection that still dominates most atlases today. It's a 16th century map, and it shows Antarctica 300 years before Antarctica was discovered. And again, it's based on earlier source maps, and again it incorporates accurate relative longitudes. So also the Orontius Phineus map that we're looking at here, another 16th century map. Mercator includes it in one of his atlases. And here we see Antarctica looking a little bit different, with mountains clearly visible along the coast and rivers running down from those mountains in places where great glaciers are known to run today. It looks on this map as though Antarctica is partially deglaciated. The center of the continent appears to be featureless and ice-covered, but the coast is showing these unglaciated features. What might that mean? This is a map by Philippe Bouache, an 18th century geographer, still a good 100 years before the discovery of Antarctica. And it shows the continent as a kind of archipelago, 2 major land masses divided by a clear waterway running between them. I wonder where he got that idea from. There's a redrawing of the Mercator map and the Orontius Phineus map and the Bouache map. And here to the right, based on seismic surveys conducted in International Geophysical Year in 1958, is a view of what Antarctica actually looks like underneath all that ice that now covers it. We're looking at the subglacial landscape of Antarctica here. And while I wouldn't claim for a moment that the Bouache map is a perfectly accurate representation of the subglacial topography of Antarctica. I think it's much too close to the reality to be dismissed entirely. I think that much more research needs to be done into these anomalous early maps and into the source maps that they rely upon for their information, because we just may be looking at the faint fingerprints of a lost civilization, of a navigating, seafaring civilization that explored and mapped the entire globe long before what we call history began. The issue of the glaciation of Antarctica is a controversial one, and most scholars would say that it has been covered with ice in the form that we see it today for several millions of years. But there is some contradictory evidence, deep sea cores which bring up soils from the ocean bed, which suggest that rivers carrying fine-grained sediments were indeed running down off the coastline of Antarctica until about 10,000 years ago.
Okay, so how do you like that? Ended up in this direction, and it was just like, hang on. Because the way this works, people, is the North Pole is tucked in there behind Russia, the tip of Russia, and what's it called? Canada? Is it? No. Alaska? North America? It's in behind there, closer to the centre on this side, the bottom side of where they join. Then you have Greenland below that and all the rest. And that's where the North Pole is, in there. It's not above and out of the way. Okay. And just show you the way I found all this, how I ended up going in this direction. It was just watching flights. As you all know, I've been looking for sunlight, shadow and clouds, so I can show that the angles don't line up for a sun that far away. And in doing that, I was also noticing that planes weren't going the way they were saying that they're going. I noticed the flights I was watching with the little map in the corner, or wherever, they have a little map showing the flight path as it's happening, so to speak. Well, a lot of the time, they're not doing the adjustments or turns that they're showing you. And at the same time, sometimes they'll be coming up to a turn and they'll turn the opposite way before they get there. And then when they get there, they'll do that turn, which basically they're heading straight forward. So, and slowing the film down gives you the proper time. If you can time it to the exact footage speed, which evidently turns out to be about 44.4. And that's quite funny to me because my favourite number is 4. And yeah, and I've noticed that when I try and put films to real time, I've got to take 66% out of the time. Like 50% is half speed, and yeah, it works out to be 44, which was really strange to me. But if you notice with the footage, they don't go where they're supposed to go. They don't see. They turn a different way, and then they'll do a little turn. Also, you watch the sun, because the sun's moving over the time, but the sun isn't actually. It doesn't seem to be gaining any ground when it should be, and also if the plane is doing the turn that it's showing on the map, then the sun should be coming around into the screen, and it's not, or the direction of the sun, and evidently it is the sun. But you'll notice they're supposed to be doing right-hand turns, and they'll be doing left-hand turns, and they'll do pauses and tell you that they're over certain parts of land, and they're not. They're not. They'll go pause. Oh, here we are, and then you'll look down and no, they're not, and you'll see how they did this. If you noticed, right at the end of that footage, they were doing left, left, left. There was no right hand turns there. And then all of a sudden, there's that long sweeping right hand turn. And then watch how the moon moves around here. This looks so local. It's just amazing. Look how local it looks. Cool, eh? But yeah, so that's what I was doing, watching that. And here's another one. Okay, so this one's gonna leave the same airport, but it's going west. And it's just, he doesn't, okay. You gotta watch so much of this footage, it's crazy. When I realised that that was the way to find the map, I realised what I was in for. Man, so much involved, looking at so much footage, watching which way they're actually going as opposed to which way the map says they're going, and then looking at where they hit the coast, and oh man, just pretty full on. But yeah, if you notice, the pilots aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. They don't turn the right way. Okay, they do some, but there's more opposite turning than what the map says that they're turning. The map says they're going left. There's more right turning going on than left turning. And just watching the footage, you know, he's going to be turning right when the clouds raise on the right hand side. It's quite easy to notice once you know, just to notice if the horizon jumps up on the right or the left. And yeah, that's the way you take notice. It's pretty easy. And yeah, just watch the flight and just try and notice that. And if you want to confirm this for yourself, well, start looking at some footage. You'll see some beautiful footage. It's some nice stuff. It can make you have to look at footage again because you weren't taking notice. But yeah, it's nice anyway. See, you can't see as far when they're close to the clouds. Underneath the clouds, I should say. Can't see as much of the bottom of the clouds. Okay, here we go. There's 2 turns coming up here and he only does 1. And then you'll see a lot more right hand turn going on. Just remember the right hand horizon will rise, and or the left, depending on which way it goes. Yeah, so you all saw that. Well, that was leaving the same airport, going a different way. Okay, so you got to look at a lot of that footage, but most of you are probably saying to yourself right now, how do flights work? Because this has probably got you a bit confused. So I'll take it to the map and show you. Okay, let's go look at that. Okay, so Max Egan left here, yeah, and then he started to go this way. This is the way he went, around here. This is the Pacific Ocean. And see, because the North Pole is here, to him, he's travelling west-southwest. He's going right all the time as far as the North Pole is concerned. And then when he gets out to about here, he starts heading southwest, see? Because the North Pole is there. See? To get down to here. And this is where he was going. Do you understand that? Now, down here, the Antarctic is below this, and it exists, people. There's also more ice and water above, up here, way up in here, okay? And what happens is the sun comes around, it goes down here, crosses across, goes up, and goes right up over the ocean. And over the season, it gets closer to this center point and further away. And in the lower summer, or the southern hemisphere summer, it gets... That's what dog's scratching. It gets down here, lower down this way, and closer to here. But because this is roughly a center point, areas around here, because the sun does go higher up here than it does southern way. That's why the Antarctic is so cold, because the center is more northern. That's why you'll get across this top little bit here, they'll see the sun all the way around, and they'll miss it all the way because it's going right up and over and it's going too low down here. And that's what's happening. Okay, now let me explain by going back to that other map, because my map's not finished. I really just needed the outside. The oceans aren't quite exact, because how do you measure over oceans by watching flight footage? They actually cut it a lot of the times or speed it up even more. Okay, I'll go back to that other footage. Okay, now that ring that's around the outside is wrong. It's bigger, okay? And yes, it's got an ice wall all the way around it, but it's bigger than that. It's big. It's the bottom's close, but the top's a lot further up, and there's a lot more islands and other bits of land up there too. But anyway, the whole outside, okay, the whole outside where they don't want you to go, where you're not allowed to go, the only way I can explain it is by, first I have to go and get a globe and show you what you need to do to the globe to understand this. Okay, just a second. Okay, now see where that writing is down there? Well, just probably at the end of it, the furthest part of it to the right, you need to make a cut. Okay, you make a cut and a slice. I know this sounds funny. And then you just flatten it out, rip that open. Like if you could just stretch that right out till it was a ring all the way around the outside, there's your map. That's how it is. Now, the reason I say this, there's a spot down here, okay, and they call it something. It's called the West Pacific Anomaly, and it's to do with radiation, not being able to get radio signal, so therefore it's off, it's off limits, it's barred. No, it's all the way around us. It's the barrier. It's the edge. That's what it is. Okay? And this is it. This is how they do it. Okay? And then once people start to see this and realise that this is how it looks, the actual map, yeah. See, when you put that cut where I said, and you stretch that out, and you're not changing any of the land masses, you just stretch it out so it becomes a flat circle with that slit you made, that cut. It's only small. With that little cut, you've made that the outside. I hope you can understand what I'm saying. It looks like that map. It looks like my map, but we're missing a big chunk of the top, the water at the top. It's where the sun goes. Okay? And yeah. And the reason I say it rises as you get further towards the edge, is because of footage, basically, and because of testimony of people that have said they've been there, because of how I see tides working, through the way I look at the map, the way tides work. It goes together with there being a whirlpool in the centre, that's for sure. It's just say you've got water running across a flat plain that's undulated, and it's got channels and all that sort of stuff, just like you expect the ocean bottoms to be. And then you have the water runs in from the sides, okay, and you have a hole in the middle like a drainage, and you plug it up for 6 hours, and then you pull the plug and it drains, and then you do it again, and you just keep doing it over and over and over and over again. Eventually you get an oscillation where the water banks, drains, banks, drains, do you know what I mean? And it moves towards the centre, which is what we see. And if you're into flat earth really well, you've been looking into it, then you already know about the old ship archives from the Antarctic region, and that's the inner part there that I was talking about. So you can see how when you rip it open, you end up with my map. They're just like people have been saying lately, they're hiding land. And also I believe they're spraying chemtrails because when the sun gets to a certain angle, you can see their damn balloons. That's all it is. And now they've got so many up there, and people were seeing them so often and reporting. I've seen tangled up balloons and all this sort of stuff. I've seen plenty of footage, and I'm like, that's a balloon. It's an inflated something, and it's all wrapped up, or someone's designed it to look like that, and it's just floating. And it's just turning in the wind and stuff. But then when I started seeing some of the footage that Robert Bassano's putting out, oh mate, because I was already thinking they're balloons. Like, it's water up there. It's fluid. Like, just believe God, man. It's so obvious. We can't get this far and then ignore him. We've been told. Anyway, I'll move on. But this is it. This is your map. This is how it is. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but yeah, that's the way it is. You can verify this for yourself. You sit there and watch flights, especially around the north, the so-called North Pole. Watch flights around there and see what they do. They don't do what they're supposed to do. Like, he didn't just turn the way I think he did he? They do not go the way they say they're going, the way the little map tells you they're going. And you've only got to pay attention to see that. But then you've got to start putting it all together and work out, okay, where are they actually hitting land? Oh, that's his name, Aaron, with the apps. He's close, but he won't give up that damn map where everything's, the 3 points pointing away from each other. It's not like that. It's not like that. It's like this. The reason flights have to go all the way around the outside and refuel in the north and that is because you can't cross across because there's so much traffic in the middle there. They used to do it. Remember when they used to travel just by ship? They weren't going all the way around the outside. They were going across these trading bits here, these trade places. Okay, they weren't going all the way around the outside. They knew that it was all the way around the outside. They already knew that. They were in the middle there trading and everything. They weren't going around the outsides. Okay, if you wanted to go on the outside, you could only go one way because the wind only goes one way. Yeah? Which way does it go? East. Anti-clockwise. Okay. I know it's hard for people to first get their head around this. Once you see this, once you understand this is it, This is how it is. Just it is. It all becomes so obvious. We need some truth. The reason you have that nasty Stephen guy, promoting concave Earth the way he is, he's not stupid. He's COINTEL. He's there to disrupt, and he is a gatekeeper. He is a proper gatekeeper, people. You're all looking in the wrong direction. Okay? You all see him and you see a threat. You see a stupid person. You see someone who has no idea. And how could it be concave? You've all seen footage where they zoom in and all of a sudden, here's that ship floating on above the horizon. Come on, guys. It's in your face. Okay? He is put there for a reason. He's there to rub you the wrong way. He's just there the same as what's it called? Flat Earth, the official Flat Earth channel, whatever it is, official Flat Earth website. The first one, the one that's, controlled opposition. Yeah, well, they do their job, but he and others do the job of gatekeeping the truth, the true truth. Don't you notice how they do it? When he comes in there, he is arrogant to you, he is rude to you, he gives you no respect, and he won't even let you have time to speak. He treats you like you are stupid. It's because he thinks you're stupid. Because he already knows this. How does he know this? Because he's probably been in the army and stuff. He's probably seen this. Okay? And then why did he end up in jail? Well, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure if you started going around telling people the truth, then, yeah, they'd want to lock you up. But then what would they do? What do they usually do? How do they do it? Come on. What do they do with a hacker who is good at what he does? They use him for themselves. That's all they've done with that Stephen guy. They've just taken him away somewhere, taught him how to steer people away from the truth. That's all that he's done. And look how vicious people are. He's just promoting that, and he's just making you like that. Well, he's not making you like that. You're just not controlling your emotions. Like I've always said, the only emotion we shouldn't be able to control is happiness. Every other emotion we should be in control of. You should not let your emotions control you. But anyway, that's what he's there for. He's there to steer you away from this. Look at any flat earther. A lot of them are stern. A lot of them have their points, and they're very grounded in what they do. But they're not assholes. They're not like him. Why is he like that? Because you go anywhere near the truth, anywhere near the actual construct, and you run into him. And not only will you run into him, he comes into your little bit and disrupts it and makes it so horrible to be anywhere near him that the mere mention of the truth, okay, gets everyone recoils straight away. And it's not the truth's fault. It's not the shape of the Earth's fault. It's the way that they've set it up. It's the same as how when people hear flat Earth, they think, "Oh, you idiots!" They instantly think, dismiss it. You know that? You know what I'm saying? You know exactly what I'm saying. Everyone who is into the flat Earth has dealt with trolls and shills, as they're so called, which they aren't, but anyway, and totally missing the point. Okay, this guy is onto it, but he's not onto it in the way where he wants you to know. He probably tried that, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. But if you want to know how it really is, this is how it really is. I don't know what's going to happen to me because of this video, but too bad. This is what we're looking for. Okay. I don't know what else to say. Except, yeah, this is where you live. I haven't got it exact, okay? It's not perfect, like I said at the beginning. The distances in the middle of the water is not nowhere near, okay? The actual land mass shapes, no. It's just so I know that's that country, yeah? And it's angled this way, and it's shaped this way. It's not shaped the way they say, or angled the way they say. And then I realised how I just really need the outside, because it puts everything where it is. I can't really get your ocean sizes, and I'm not going to bother. We really just need to know this is what it looks like. Okay? And you've got to realise that, yeah, the sun goes up over the top there, out into the Pacific Ocean, if you will. And the Pacific Ocean is a lot more of it above the North Pole, which is in the centre. Just right of Greenland, north, well, you know what I mean. I'm sure you've worked it out by now, by the end of this video. I hope you have. I don't know how else to point it out. But yeah. Okay. Enjoy.